It's time for Retro Talk with Retro Rose here on
WXPM
on 98.5
FM.
Welcome to this week's episode of Retro Talk. And we're going Kids Incorporated. Right, Mike?
Yes, Kids Incorporated. Oh, that was such a great show. This is Mike the Breaux Show here.
D-S Incorporated.
We're Kids Incorporated. K-I-D-S. Oh, it was so fun.
Incorporated. So many cool actors actually came out of that, too. So many names that I can, well, actually I got a few, like Fergie came out of there.
That's crazy to me too, because when she was on there, she was this cute little blonde girl that was, great singer and everything, but you didn't expect her to come up and be like, go join, what was it, Black Eyed Peas and do her own stuff and then talk about her lady humps and everything. She's this cute little girl doing pop covers from the mid-'80s.
Who would have known, right?
Nobody would have known that.
She was adorable, and she actually, they call her Fergie, of course, that goes from her last name, but her real name was Stacey Ann Ferguson.
Oh, that's right.
Well, as a kid, you know. And then she turned out to be Fergie.
And then did she marry Josh Duhamel? I think she did for a while, too. Nice guy from the Transformers movies. Anyway, even he's dreaming to me. I'm not going to lie.
I don't want to go over too many of the names yet, but I want to really get into this.
Okay.
And Mike, I'm going to let you share your memories first, and then I'll share how I remember it, because you probably remember it from Saturday mornings, right?
I remember Saturday mornings and also like Sunday afternoons or something like that. Where I lived, it was because it was a show that was aired in syndication. You could see it on different times over the weekends, typically. I remember seeing it mainly with the cast that most people know that we'll talk about, like Martika and things like that. And what I really loved about it was the fact that it was kind of like a sketch show, but also a performance show. Like, it was more about music, and that they were theater kids.
Yeah.
Like, they had their own theater that they put on shows for like the local, I guess, neighborhood. You never really explained. They were just like, you just come in and watch people perform.
Yeah, there'd be like, and they'd have their own little dancers dancing around and everything.
Right. And they had a lot of great costumes.
It was Riley's shop.
That's
it was
right.
like Riley ran this soda shop and everything.
That's right. And I just loved like all the different skits they put together and then the costumes they put together too. But it was really literally the vocal talent of all the kids on there. It was really, before they were stars, that's where you would go to see it. This was before you had things like The Voice or America's Got Talent or anything. When back then you had Star Search was like the big look for stars.
Yeah.
This was a show that actually just said, you know what, you're talented, you've already got the stuff, come on and let's get you singing.
And it wasn't really like one of those variety shows like Donnie and Marie.
No.
Because these kids weren't established yet.
No.
And in the episodes, they would, like you said, they sung a lot, but there was always something going on too. Like, say one of them was having trouble in school, and the episode would be, they'd have little segments where they'd be playing out, they're backstage talking about it, because they knew they were going to be doing a performance.
Right.
But they would be having these real issues going on at the same time, where like, I'm having trouble in school, or this kid's picking on me or something. It
was like they almost were this is a special episode. Maybe 3 out of 10 episodes were like a special episode, but they were good. And they never like talked down to you as a kid. They were like talked on your level, which I loved more than anything else. And I think that's what was the real hit of it. And it ran for several seasons too.
Yeah, and I tell you what, I saw a little bit of it on Saturday mornings, but most of mine was on Disney Channel, because we had that as kids.
Right.
And it came on Monday through Friday, 5 days a week. We would watch it after school, and it was all reruns.
Right.
But my sister and I watched it religiously. We watched it every day after school.
I love the fact that they would take modern day songs at the time, and they were 9 times 10 kept intact. But if there was something of a slightly adult lyric or whatever too, they would change it just a little bit.
Yeah, to make it kid friendly.
Exactly. Instead of, hey, I'm going to go have a cigarette, it would be, I'm going to go have a soda pop or something like that. And I love that. Like, again, they made it more fun. Kind of akin to the CDs that came out years later, top hits by Kiss. Or whatever.
And you know what? I love this show. But I wish they would actually come out with DVDs of it. But you'll never see that because it's almost like Beavis and Butthead because they had like the popular songs at the time, and I don't think they have the rights to be able to play those songs that they sung. They
had the rights to do it when they broadcast it and in syndication, but for distribution, they can't do it. Yeah, and it's very upsetting.
Yeah, so I don't think there will ever be any kind of DVD. You can find it on YouTube. But that's about it.
And it's somebody's like probably grainy VCR
VHS
version of
tape recorded episodes. And I actually did that. I remember recording some of those episodes, my favorite ones.
Yep.
I would record them.
Oh my gosh.
And then watch them later on my VHS. I don't know what happened to those tapes, but I had a bunch of them. And I did the same thing, of course, with Transformers. Don't know what happened to any of those tapes, but I had like stacks of VHSs that I'd record my favorite episodes on.
Can you imagine the commercials that would be airing during those shows, Kids Incorporated or any other ones that we had taped back then? Oh, man. I can only, I'm starting to have sizzling commercial thoughts.
It's almost like YouTube where you see all those. But there was a great line. I think this series ran for probably about, about 8 series?
It was like
seasons?
6 to 8 seasons, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was a long running series.
And what they would do too is they would let them grow up. Like they'd get to a certain age and they'd say, "All right, you're out of here." To a certain age, all right. And then they'd bring a new kid in, and then the next to the oldest would move up to the oldest.
Right.
And they would do that throughout the whole thing.
And they would have like kind of like a mentor here and there. That the oldest kid was the mentor to the others as well.
Yeah, exactly. And then after that mentor got too old, then they'd move that one on and would come the next.
It goes back to that, being a stage kid more than anything else. I wasn't one. I wish I was.
I don't know, though. I think that they had trouble with their transition, some of them, but not all of them.
Not
As
all
we'll
of them.
mention, some of them, like we were just saying, Fergie. I mean...
I think she did okay.
She did okay.
Yeah, she did all right.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just have the song stuck in my head, but I see a lot of the videos that they did back then, too, in my head. Like they wouldn't do Madonna's like a Virgin, for instance.
No, they wouldn't.
That would not do that. But they might do, like Holiday or something like that.
Yeah, they would do fun ones like We Built This City.
Yes,
stuff like that.
I remember that one actually.
Oh gosh, they probably would have done a lot of Debbie Gibson songs.
Yeah.
But I think it was more rock.
It was definitely more rock. It was definitely more pop than anything else.
Yeah, it wouldn't been like super slow unless someone was really depressed during an episode. I've seen a couple episodes where one of them was like down or something.
Or they did like the bluesy, like a little bit of a bluesy one or whatnot.
Because sometimes they would have solo. Like one of them would go off on their own and they'd be, like I said, where they'd be depressed or something. And they'd sing a song about love or...
We don't want that. We want fun. We want... Yeah!
And then later on, they'd get back and they'd do a fun one.
Yep. There was times I'd look at their costume and be like, I really want to wear that. Not the girls' costume because, no dresses for me. No dresses for me. But
no dresses for you.
I would love to like the tuxedos they had. Or they had jumpsuits they would wear a lot of times with the suspenders. I thought those looked cool. Suspenders with a bow tie on a white shirt. Sign me up. I'd do that. I think that would be a lot of fun. And it looked like the kids had fun on this show. Like they did not have any issues whatsoever when they were on screen. And if they had anything in their past, and their personal lives, it did not show on screen. And 9 times out of 10, I think they transitioned well. Like this was a particular show where most people seemed to do all right after the fact. There were no real hiccups in their lives after, which I love that for them.
Yeah, and like I said, a lot of them went on to do something different. Mm-hmm. And I was...
what are you trying to do the I?
No, actually. No,
K is hard enough.
K is hard. Sorry, folks. He's making me laugh.
K, I, D. Oh, I just broke my back. Oh.
I'm actually the S that jumps up here. 'Cause you remember
Oh, that's right.
it'd show the kids. One would pose and whoop, go up to a K. One would pose, go to the I. you know?
Yep. And then at the end, it would be one with like the star at the end, and it followed and flowed underneath the incorporated at the end. And then
Yep.
ping! Oh my gosh. It was such an 80s show. It really was. It was so beautiful. It was a pure show. That was the best part about it.
You know who else came from there?
Who's
and,
that?
Connor actually mentioned it. He's in the basement, too.
Connor's in the basement?
Yeah, he's in the basement with Tony today.
Okay.
So Jennifer Love Hewitt.
You mean Can't Hardly Wait Girl?
Yeah, the one from I Know What
Party.
You Did Last Summer.
And Party of Five.
Yeah.
Yep.
She came from that. I think that was probably her first acting role.
I think
One of them, anyways.
you're right. I now remember this. Like, they just did like a little retrospective video I saw recently online where it showed her as a kid, and her first thing was like Kids Incorporated. And she was not Jennifer Love Hewitt. I think they called her just Love Hewitt. Which,
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So your name is Love and you're like 9 years old?
Her parents love her.
I guess so.
Yeah.
There's so
She
many
was
big
cute, though.
She was
Oh my
definitely cute back
gosh,
then.
adorable.
She, you know what it is? She has not changed from being adorable. She just got taller. That's all
Yeah,
she did.
yeah.
Like, she could do Kid Incorporated now if she just stood on her knees.
I mean, that just goes to show you that some of them just went on to do great things.
Right.
You know, I haven't followed everyone. I haven't looked up everyone. But I will mention another one that I remembered, and that's Ryan Lambert.
Wasn't he in...
The Monster Squad.
Yes, that's right.
I'm a Monster Squad.
And again, he was one of those kids who was actually he was a great singer. But I think if I remember right, he was one of the dancers too. Like, he did the break dancing and stuff.
He did dancing, yeah. And you know what? As soon as I saw Monster Squad, I got so excited. I was like, it's Ryan. and even in like, didn't he even go by Ryan in the Monster Squad?
I think he did.
So he used his name in Kids Incorporated, his real name in Kids Incorporated and in Monster Squad.
You know what? They just knew how to cast him. It was like, we'll make it simple for you. Your name is your name.
Yeah, your name is Ryan. And I was like, yeah, my name is Ryan. So
Oh, my
we're just
God.
going to call you Ryan.
I just remember him being the
He
one
was
that
the
would
bad
have,
kid.
He had like the jeans with the bandanas tied on the knees and things like that.
Yeah,
And
yeah, I remember that.
Yep.
Yeah, from Kids Incorporated. So I mean, he was a great singer, and he looked like in Monster Squad he had that punky look, but in Kids Incorporated he was kind of cute, just a kid,
yeah, no.
decent kid. He didn't look like a punk in Kids Incorporated.
Now here's
I
your
don't think
crossover movie: Kids Incorporated meets Monster Squad, the
I
adult
could
years.
see that happening.
Right?
I could see Kids Incorporated singing the song Monster Squad at the end.
You could definitely do that.
Let's hear you sing it.
No, I can't sing. We've established on the show many times that I can sing in the shower and not anywhere else. If I do, people will flock away. We don't want that.
We'll lose listeners. The only ones that'll be listening is Mike's parents, and it'll be like, oh, Lord.
No. Anyway,
Jen will be listening. She's like, that's my man.
no, she'll turn it off too. For those who don't know, Jen, that's my wife. So she'll be like, no.
No.
But yeah, she watched Kids Incorporated too. Like, I
Did
think
she
we all
watch
did.
Kids Incorporated?
Yeah, we all did.
Yeah. I don't know if Tony did or not.
Well, I hear him knocking in the basement. No, he said he's too cool. He was too cool for Kids
He
Incorporated.
was too cool. All right, so we've talked a lot about Kids Incorporated, but I do remember the Mickey Mouse Club, too, from the 1990s.
That show had a lot of other great stars that came from it too.
Britney Spears,
Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera,
Justin Timberlake.
Like, they were all from that little batch there. But that's kind of like, you had Kids Incorporated first that brought back that kind of show that was similar to the original Mickey Mouse Club.
And people that loved the new Barbie movie, Ryan Gosling was actually in there too. He was in the Mickey Mouse Club.
And the thing is, there you have Kids Incorporated that was in the 80s to like maybe in 91 or whatever.
Early 90s, and then Mickey Mouse Club took over.
Which one was your favorite out of the two? I think I know, but
Kids Incorporated for sure.
same for me. And I think a lot of people will tell you that, well, Mickey Mouse Club was probably a little bit more refined, a little bit more polished because it was, Disney.
Yeah.
And, they had these stars and it became some superstars
And
as
like
well.
I said, though,
But-
Kids Incorporated aired on Disney, too.
Right. But Kids Incorporated was just so, the best word I can put is raw. It was so pure. It did not have the polished look to it that Disney had. And I think that's what makes it a better show, because it was actually real talent that sold the show as opposed to a polished Disney product. That was there.
Where they kind of planned it out.
Exactly.
And if you ever watched the Disney Mickey Mouse Club from the 1960s,
Yep.
they actually planned all that out, too. I mean, that was... Walt Disney planned all that in the 1950s, how he wanted it to go each episode. It wasn't... And he selected these kids.
Right.
It wasn't like, oh, well, this one's talented, let's go with him. He would look and say, oh, this one's cute. This one's pretty. I think that's the way they did Annette Funicello.
Yeah.
She was like already starting to go up in fame. And I was like, oh, she's good. Let's put her in there.
Right. And then you come into the 80s and there's no Mickey Mouse Club. They filled the void with Kids Incorporated, and I think it became a better show.
Did you know that there was actually a Mickey Mouse Club in the 1970s, too? Around 1975, 76?
No, because I was like 1 and 2. I don't remember watching this.
I remember it as reruns.
Okay.
But I have a couple puzzles, and they have like, if you remember the outfits in Lost in Space, those colorful outfits they wore later in the seasons, that's almost like what the Mickey Mouse clothes were. The club clothes were in the 70s. They had like these bright oranges and reds, browns, and it was odd. It was 70s.
Did they have the robot going, danger, Mickey Mouse, danger, danger, Mickey Mouse, danger?
They didn't have They didn't have the robot, but their outfits reminded me kind of that. It was that 70s feel with the bell bottoms. And
right.
everything. It's almost like the Brady Bunch variety show.
Yes.
That they had those crazy outfits on, the bell bottoms and everything.
The less said about the Brady Bunch variety show, the better. I've seen some of it and it hurts my head. This is why we got a better show like Kids Incorporated in the 80s. They looked at that and said, no.
I mean, there was a lot of variety shows in the 70s.
Oh, I know. Like,
it was crazy.
Donnie and Marie Osmond, like there was that one too.
Yeah.
All precursors from the Mickey Mouse Club.
There was the Jackson 5 variety show, the Osmonds. Before there was Donnie and Marie, there was the Osmond show.
Oh, and Sonny and Cher.
Yeah. Those ones weren't as innocent as the kid shows, but...
Right.
And
then we come back and we get, other shows that were maybe a little more comedy-based and music-based that were out there. Like, you can't do that on television.
Yeah, you
but
can't do
again,
that on television.
I think more real talent you got on a show like Kids Incorporated. You got the singing, you got the dancing, you got everything and anything that was part of that kind of sketch comedy show, but with real singing too. And again, I go back to like the costumes and set designs. They built some amazing sets for just a TV show for kids.
Yeah, just a TV show. And they went through a lot to just get the outfits for the kids.
Yeah, it was like you were like seeing a mini Broadway show every show.
Yeah. And imagine seeing that 5 days a week. Like I said, I used to watch it on reruns Monday through Friday.
Did you ever wake up in the middle of the night and start singing Kids Incorporated? K-I-D. Yes!
No, not really.
No?
If I would have, my mom would have probably slammed my bedroom door shut. But I don't think so. Speaking of dreams, though, I was having a dream the other day about Tony.
Is this safe to say on the air?
Yeah, he was.
Okay.
I was buying Barbie somewhere, and it was getting really expensive. Now, this is off subject, of course, but it was getting really expensive. And I looked over at him and said, this is going to cost a lot. And he says, okay, honey, that's all right. And I woke up.
So, hold on. I know this is a
totally
tangent.
Off subject. He's like, okay, honey, that's all right.
This is a tangent here. I have to ask. So you're dreaming about buying Barbies, and then you're thinking of Tony. As long as you're not thinking of Tony in a Barbie dress, I think we're good.
No. I was spending a lot of money, though, and I have a tendency to do that. And I was worried about him getting upset, and I said, this is starting to cost a lot. And he was like, it's okay, honey.
Oh, my gosh.
And then I woke up.
But now will
Normally, it'd probably like, yeah, you don't need that.
Now, will Tony take you to a Kids Incorporated concert if they ever did one?
You know what? Actually, I haven't thought about doing that, going to a Kids Incorporated, but I have thought about going to a New Kids on the Block.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And getting Tony to take me there might be a trick.
Interesting. I'd pay money to see that. I want
Well,
to see that trick.
You know what? We'll think about that later.
Okay.
Let's just don't talk to strangers. And you know who that's from?
Not on the tip of my tongue.
Rick Springfield.
Oh, don't talk to strangers.
They actually did that on Kids Incorporated, too,
That's
to
right.
let everyone know that. I don't talk to strangers. Do you, Mike?
We were taught in the 80s not to talk to strangers, especially ones in white vans with candy. Just know.
Kids Incorporated would have educated you on that. Just to let you know.
They had things like that. Like, at the end of the He-Man episodes, you had the tag on that. Kids Incorporated sometimes had, like, the tag at the end or the overarching teachable moment for you that you knew they were telling you not to do this.
And for those that are just joining us, this is Retro Talk, and we're talking about Kids Incorporated. Just
Kids,
to let you know.
Kids, we're Kids Incorporated.
And Mike is going to sing for us.
No, not going to sing.
All right, so getting back into the show, because, we talked a lot of things. We talked about dreams, right, Tony? We talked about all kinds of crazy things. I want to talk about the episodes, though.
Okay.
Give everybody an idea of what the episodes were like.
There were so many great ones.
Yeah, there was very interesting ones from that time period because it was around 1984. It was 85, space program, all kinds of things going on during that time period.
I was a space nut back then. Yeah, I remember all that.
You wanted to be an astronaut, right,
I did.
Mike?
I did. I wanted to run a robotic arm.
He did, too. Probably had a ton of robots.
I had Robotron.
So one of the first episodes, actually, is the character Mickey, one of Yoda's kids.
I remember that.
Is having a power trip. And the band decides that they're going to quit. The rest of the band, they're getting upset with them and everything. And wonders if they should hook up with a new rich kid.
Oh.
So this is it's a episode where he's got this power thing, and the songs they play, and it even shows here. The songs they played was Jump, The Heart of Rock and Roll, Beat It, which I'm sure they would have told him to beat it if they were getting irritated with him.
I can actually see this episode in my head now.
And then it's got it had several songs though playing during it. It had Against All Odds.
Wow.
And Breaking There's No Stopping Us Now.
So, what amazes me is, yes, the kids are singing these songs throughout the show and everything, but they still have to pay the songwriters and or the owners of the songs.
Yeah, I'm sure they
rights.
have to pay something or get their approval. Something comes from that because it's on the episode.
Right.
They have to get something from it, I'm sure.
I can't even imagine what either that cost was, or were some of them, given freely because it was a kid's show and it was promoting that song again still.
And this is a crazy episode. Stacy becomes friends with a ghost and helps him get into a ghost society.
Hold on.
Of all things.
Wait a second. Hold on.
Stacy becomes friends. I don't remember that episode.
I don't either.
I'll have to look that one up.
Tell me that one of the songs in the show was Ghostbusters.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's got one song in here, Go Insane. I don't remember who sings that song. I'm sure Connor probably would know. Go Insane. And there's one that's Let's Go Crazy.
That makes sense.
Episode. She's going crazy. She's talking to a ghost, of all things. But Ghostbusters, that was right around, and it was Halloween, so it was October 23rd, 1984 that was aired.
That's perfect timing for it.
Yeah, it was perfect timing. And they've got another one from October during that time period it says Renee Trades Places, and this is something that you see a lot of times in movies back then. And
Hold on. I'm going to guess there's a twin involved.
There's a lookalike.
Lookalike, okay.
Yeah. Oh, okay. That was Fleetwood Mac, the one that sings
Go
that.
Insane.
Going Insane. Yeah.
By Lindsey Buckingham
that
from
was
Fleetwood
Connor
Mac.
in the basement threw that at us. But Renee trades places with a princess.
Of course they do.
And learns that it's not as easy as she thinks it would be to be a princess.
Any kid that does that. And okay, so let's see. What songs were in that episode? That's my question then.
Girls Just Want to Have Fun.
Of course.
And then they had this one. I don't remember this one either. The Lucky One.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember that. And who sung that? The Lucky One.
I know that I can hear it in my head.
Come on, Mike. And then they've got ABC, of course.
Yep.
ABC, easy as 1, 2, 3. And then they had The Glamorous Life, was played during that episode. But they did that with Davy Jones, too, a Monkees episode. He trades place with a prince.
Okay, yeah.
20 years before this one aired, the Monkees were thinking of it, There's always this, and there was a runaway princess, and she trades places with her for a little bit.
Of course. It's the 80s. You do that. You have to.
Yeah, it's the 80s. And then there's an episode where a robot is sent to replace Riley.
Danger,
like I said,
danger,
kids. Riley worked the soda bar, so they decided to put a robot in there.
I bet it was like somebody dressed up in a robot suit, something that was impossible to have in the 80s, but they still said this can happen.
I'm sure. And let's say they played the war song, Dancing in the Dark. A favorite of mine that I'm not going to play until a little bit. We'll give it a little bit, and then I'll play it. One of my favorites.
Oh, okay.
Human Torch. And guess what the other one was?
Mr. Roboto.
Exactly, Mr. Roboto. It had to be Mr. Roboto, right?
Of course.
It's actually a robot. We got to have Roboto.
But did they let the name come out? I'm Kilroy. Kilroy.
I'm guessing they
Kilroy.
might have. Maybe it's whenever they destroy the robot or something.
Or maybe, at the end of it, it's instead of Kilroy, it's like, Live Roy. Live Roy. Live Roy.
Now, they beat the robot. Riley got in there and took over again. He was like, I'm going to take over my soda stand again.
He poured some milkshake down the robots.
Yeah, pour a milkshake. They probably did. That's probably what happened. If I remember that episode right, the kids actually started running the robot crazy. Like, oh, I want this. No, I didn't want that. Like an annoying customer, they'll order one thing and then they changed it around. I remember that episode,
and then
actually.
they fry circuits that way.
Yeah, and he starts frying. Oh, I wanted fries. I didn't want a hamburger. And they start going crazy and the robot just sizzles out.
And he's like, I can't do this anymore.
I remember that episode really well.
Man.
After looking it up, I was like, oh, I remember this one.
Yep.
And Riley doesn't own the story, works for it. So
Right.
Whoever the manager was thought it'd be better to put a robot in.
That's something you never saw really in the show, too, where too many adults. It was always the kids kind of running everything.
Yeah, and it really didn't even, I don't think it even showed the manager. I think Riley just, he's like a late in his teens, maybe early 20s. He's not that old himself.
Right.
And he came out and said, hey, they're going to replace me or something to that effect.
It's kind of like Peanuts as adults, but with singing.
Yeah. And another one that I remember really well is one of the dancers. Her name was Wendy.
Yeah.
She turns out to be a great singer. I remember the episode really well too because she waited until no one was in the restaurant and she
Right.
got up on the stage and started singing. And one of the Kids Incorporated stopped in, one of the members stopped in and was like, wow, she can really sing,
Oh, wow.
And she's very shy, though. She doesn't want to sing in front of a crowd. And the whole episode is about that.
Okay.
About they're wanting to get her in there to sing. But they never made her a member. It was just that one episode, and then after that, she was a dancer again. They never asked her to sing again.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It counts a lot in the 80s shows, too.
Yeah. I mean, just for the one episode, she was like, oh, she's amazing. We got to get her to sing. And then in the next episode, she's just a dancer again.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, oh, we forgot about her. But some of the songs that were sung during that one is Shake Your Body down to the ground. And then It Ain't Enough, She's So Shy. Now, that's the song she sung, and I remember that one.
Mm-hmm.
And Dim All the Lights, I remember her singing that one, too. And then there was a Neutron Dance.
Oh, my God. She sang the Neutron Dance?
No. By then, I think she was just mainly a dancer again.
Oh, wow.
She was only famous for them for like...
For the one episode.
One episode and for like a few minutes, and then I was like, all right, go back and be a dancer. Get out of here.
For 22 minutes in syndication, you are a singer. Now get back there.
Now, I'm kind of wondering if she actually went on to be something great, the actress, that played that part. She might have. She was a dancer, and she sung really well, so
Right.
I don't know why they booted her so quickly. It was just for that one episode. It's like, you're out of here. And I was talking about the space stuff. There was actually an episode where it's Space Week at the Palace, and that was the name of the restaurant, the place where they had there's a NASA, they're writing letters to NASA's in hopes of becoming the first kid in space.
Okay.
But Gloria is worried about it. She doesn't want to do it. Honestly, she probably shouldn't have done it if she doesn't want to be in space.
Who wouldn't want to be in space?
She says she's too scared. It says Gloria's too scared to go into space. But the rest of them are all excited, so just don't write NASA.
Right.
There's your answer.
Or don't go see the movie Space Camp.
Yeah. But they sang some songs I liked from that episode. They sung Holiday. I love that one a little.
Yep.
Let's see here.
That's
Holiday, Want to Be Starting Something. That's something that Mike does all the time. He's always wanting to start something.
That's me.
And Human Nature. I really don't remember that one.
That's is that
Who is that?
That's Michael Jackson.
Is that Michael Jackson?
I believe so.
I want to go back to talking about these episodes. Some of these episodes were fun.
Give me a couple more new ones that I haven't heard of.
And for those that are just joining us, we're still talking about Kids Incorporated. This one episode is where, and I remember this one too, the kid, now this is the character's name, the kid comes across a magic lamp. And it's got, the special guest is Shabadoo.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Shabadoo a little bit, but not a whole lot.
Kind of like, mid-tier,
Because obviously he was a big deal.
Big enough deal to get on Kids Incorporated.
Yeah, big enough deal to get on. And he plays the genie, of course.
Of course. Is the kid's name Aladdin?
No, the kid is actually, that's the kid's name. They never really mention his name because he didn't want anyone to know his name.
Oh, okay.
And there's an episode, and I don't know the name of it right now, where the kid actually tells his name.
Okay.
He doesn't want anyone to know his name because it's a foreign name or something like that. He's shy about it. He doesn't want anyone to know. But so they call him the kid most of the time.
Right.
But the character that joins him is Shabadoo. And, of course, they got to play one of my favorite songs, Magic. Bit by Bit, which is another one of my favorite songs. And that's from Fletch, Bit by Bit.
Oh, yeah. I remember that.
Yeah, and we've got Chemistry. Tender Woman Alone. I remember that song. I actually remember this episode really well.
Right.
I just don't remember Shabadoo too well.
Shabadoo.
Shabadoo-badoo. Let's see, there's another one where Riley invents a Max Headroom-like synthesizer. And it actually does look like Max Headroom.
With the background and everything.
Yeah. And it's got the whole thing going on. And it runs amok and ruins things for the kids.
I can just see it now. You're listening to Kids Incorporated.
And they've got like songs, Jumpstart, because we're getting like around 1987 now. This is like a 1987 episode. Like I said, it ran for years.
Yeah.
Shakedown is in there. Shakedown,
break down.
You're busted.
Everybody wants to get your crowded lights. Break down, take down. You're busted. Sorry.
Yeah, that was from 1987. I mean, so some of these actually ran pretty late, these episodes.
That was a huge song. You know what song that movie was? What movie that song is from?
Yeah.
Roadhouse.
I
No.
love how ready to say RoboCop.
No, not even RoboCop.
No, it's a cop show. It's Eddie Murphy's. I'm getting closer. Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop
get there.
2.
I get a little closer. Yeah, I was having a brain fart.
You know what? They probably had those on the show too.
Yeah, they had.
I mean,
brain
they
farts.
were theater kids. I'm sure there were some great outtakes from those shows.
All right,
you
so
imagine?
this is a crazy episode, and this is later too. So I'm not sure who Connie is. I'd have to watch the episodes again. But this is from 1988, so this is after the show's been on for ages. Connie attempts to invent a time machine. Like, there's going to be a time machine in one of the episodes.
Of course.
But drags an alien to Earth instead.
Wait a second. Hold on.
How does that
Did I get
episode
dragged
work?
into Kids Incorporated too? Alf, you need to
How
slow
does
down.
that one work? I mean, it's like she invents a time machine, but drags an alien to Earth instead.
I'm starting to, see a pattern with a lot of these episode arcs and everything. In my mind, they remind me a lot of Family Guy episodes too.
Yeah.
It's
like,
did
how did
Family
the
Guy
alien
copy
come
Kids
in?
Incorporated?
And I wonder I'd have to look that one up on YouTube too. So anyone that's listening to this, you cannot find these online, but you can find them on YouTube. They're not streaming anywhere. These episodes aren't streaming. You can't get them on DVD. As we mentioned earlier in the episode, a lot of these have songs from back in the day.
Right.
And there's just no way, like Beavis and Butthead, it's hard to run those old songs.
With the copyright laws, I know you can see individual bits or songs on YouTube from what people have uploaded and whatnot over the years, or from other streaming services, but you can't get entire episodes because some songs can't live together on the same show.
When you're listening to this, if you want to watch it, I would recommend looking up on YouTube. You probably can find some where someone had recorded it on VHS at the time. So
what Disney Channel needs to do is they need to, at some point, rerun them in syndication on their own channel again. That's what they should do.
And Connor in the basement says TV broadcast rights are different from home video rights for copyrighted songs. So, I mean, it's just a big thing like that. Now, speaking of episodes, and you remember how I mentioned earlier in this episode, talking about episodes. Earlier in the episode, I mentioned that a lot of them, as they got older, they would move on.
Right.
Well, they had episodes that were based on why these people left.
That makes sense.
In first season, Mickey was the main kid. He was the oldest kid. Like you said, the mentor,
right.
Kind of like. He has to move. And they have to find his family moves. That's the reason why he leaves. And they have to find a newcomer. And his name is Ryan. Same from Monster Squad.
There you go, Ryan from Monster Squad.
Yeah.
Right.
So that wasn't a reason in 1985, Mickey's family, and it was at the point where he's just too old to play anymore. So they have to find a replacement.
It's when their voices go from, I'm going to sing like this, to I've got a deep voice.
Yeah. But, I mean, and there's another one here. Let me see here. There's not the Scooby-Doo. We're not going to do that one. But there's one where Renee, one of the main girls that's been there for like probably about 3 or 4 seasons, she moves to England. And that's the reason why they change her out. They move her out.
Now, I wonder what the requirements were for getting new kids on there. They never do that unless there's like a talent show or something. I can't remember any talent show episodes.
Maybe they have a talent. But, when I mentioned Mickey a few minutes ago, they say it was because his family moved. I guess it might have not have been entirely because of his age. It says he was unhappy with the show's often bizarre and outlandish storylines, which some of the storylines were kind of crazy.
Well, we did talk about Ghost talking to one of the girls earlier.
that's kind of...
But you know what? I think that's the charm of the show, and that's why it lasted so long.
Yeah, but that was one of they said it was, and it might not have been entirely age with him.
Right.
But I do know that a lot of the older kids, as they got older, they kind of replaced them each, every other season they'd replace someone. And Renee was replaced, which she was one of my favorite characters. She was replaced and went to England. And then they had another one that, let me see where they... I got notes here for those that don't know.
I'm looking at her with a little spiral notebook, and she's been watching Kids Incorporated for the last week or so now, like old episodes. Yeah, I can tell she's into this.
Yeah, I am very much.
I'm going much from my memory as a kid.
See, I cheat.
No, you don't cheat. You become informed.
I don't know. I had it here a few minutes ago, but you get the basic idea.
Yeah.
What they did was they replaced kids.
Right.
And they said there was reasons. Maybe it's because they're getting older. Maybe it was because they just had a difference. Maybe they got a better job.
Right.
Maybe they found something else they wanted to do instead.
Well, you had like Martika. She was doing her own album while she was on the show. And then she had the one single that really took off just before she left the show. That I remember almost vividly now.
Yeah, I remember that. That was
Yeah,
almost right after she left the show.
Yep, Toy
that
Soldiers came out.
She got in it. Yeah.
Yep.
And she did really good. I think it was probably her number one
It's
hit.
her biggest hit.
Yeah, the biggest hit she's ever made. And I don't know what she did after that, but I know Ferguson, like I said, she really went.
Fergie
did a
kind
lot.
of blew up. Like, that's what happened
Yeah.
with her. She just went skyrocketing. Martika did, really well for herself, but she didn't have to do much bigger or anything like that, which I enjoy. And with all the kids on the show, they just, nothing you hear from that show really is anybody got treated bad. It wasn't anything on the back end that was really crazy for them or anything like that. It was really just
It was a
wholesome
fun show.
Yeah, it was wholesome.
And I don't think, we don't really have a whole lot of time to talk about merchandise, but there wasn't any merchandise. I will say that. I don't think there might have been a poster or something, but I
Right.
don't think there was ever any merchandise.
Nothing, maybe a sticker sheet from time to time or something.
there
and that's
might
it.
have been a folder or a notepad or something that was out, but I've never really researched it. But for those that really enjoyed this show, this episode, we will do more like this, and I hope you enjoyed it. And for those that remember Kids Incorporated, I'm sure you did.
Be sure to let us know what shows you're looking to for us to talk about. If there's an individual show you can't remember, you want us to look up, we'll be glad to do the research and talk about it.
Yeah,
Where are you?
email us online.
Yes,
email us
absolutely.
online, and just give us some feedback. And we are going to go live soon.
Yes, we're
We
looking
are
forward to
going
that.
live.
We can't wait for that. I can't wait to see what our next
Think
show's
like
going to
in
be.
December, we're planning on going live, and would love to hear from you. Would love to have you call in. Until then, keep listening to 98.5
The Phoenix.
and Retro Talk.
Retro Talk with Retro Rose and myself, The Breaux Show. Thank you for listening. Tune in the same time, same bat channel.
See you next week.
Come sponsor Retro Talk, where your support keeps us on the air. If you want more information, send an email to wxpm985@gmail.com and we'll send you our brochure.
You've been listening to
Retro Talk with Retro Rose.
here on
98.5 WXPM.
Be back next week, same time, same channel.
Remember the music? Remember the movies? Remember the cars, the fashions, the news, the things that stood out during our youth? It's okay to be nerdy. Join me as I reminisce over the cartoons, the toys, and the video games of the 70s, 80s, and 90s. Turn back the clock with Retro Talk.
Weekends on 98.5 XPM's $1 Million Weekend lineup.